So, if y'all don't know, I'm Anthony Guerreri. I go to Western Carolina University in the interior design program. Doing this presentation on why minimum wages should stay the same. Some of you may not agree, some of you may agree, just depending on your opinions. So let's get started. What really would happen if the dollar lost its value? So this picture, this chart shows, 1998, 2005, and 2014. In 1998, it's saying this is what you could buy with $20. In 2005, that's saying what you could buy with $20. And a few years ago, that's what you could buy with $20. The reason I put this on there, it just shows a good graph of how well the value of a $20 bill is. What is the minimum wage? So this is the United States of America. North Carolina is $7.25 an hour is what the minimum wage is. So the green states is more than federal, so that's more than $7.25 an hour. The blue is same as federal, just as North Carolina. Red is less than federal, so that's less than minimum wage. And the yellow, which is just a few states, has no minimum wage. So some positive things on increasing minimum wage. People will spend more money and cause a big currency. People who are working make people feel important, so they work harder. I don't know how many of y'all work retail, but I work retail, and I had to work my way up the ladder as far as getting paid. Started at a low rate and worked my way up. And sometimes companies, if you work really well, no matter when you first start, you want to work hard for that company, and it makes you feel good. And then once you start out, then you kind of it just depends on how well they treat you as far as the company goes. Also lowers turnover rates. It impacts the family, so it impacts family and other family members. They have more money to spend time with each other. That could be vacation. So if you increase, what I'm saying is if you increase minimum wage, then you're going to make more money, and that's just a pro. Finances, people are allowed to catch up on their bills. That's another positive impact. Although some of the positives, the cons far outweighs the positives, in my opinion. I will go into it. So negative perspective. Impacts the economy, causes inflation. How many of y'all know what inflation is? Inflation is a sustained increase in the general price level of goods and services in the economy over a period of time. Little definition for you there. Another negative is the dollar bill loses its value, causing everything to become more. The federal minimum has lost about 5.8% of its purchasing power to inflation. It affects the individual, decrease in working people. So the federal minimum has lost about 5.8% of its purchasing power to inflation. It affects the individual. Decrease in working people. Don't bring enough people out of poverty. Another negative is life as a worker. Work demand is a big one. People have to step up and work twice as hard because companies fire people to keep from having to pay more. So back to work demand. People trying to find a job, no one will be hiring, and companies will turn to outsourcing. Also, like I said, less people working. Funny cartoon of outsourcing and then employees overload. More in detail about employees being overloaded. Just like I said, in retail, you got, you don't do your main, you do your main job, but you also do other people's jobs too when it resorts to something like that. So you're being overworked. You're just like when I worked at Lowe's. I was coming, working 3 departments. Let's see. So what can we do to stop the increase of minimum wage? We can vote, but just in an opinion, who thinks they should increase minimum wage? You can be honest. You can be honest. You can be honest. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Anybody think they should not increase minimum wage?
I'm kind of on both.
Kind of on both. Okay. All right.
There's good pros and good cons to both.
That's good. That's good. Way to be honest.
Yeah, but you got soon a lot of it's got to do with the Congress and all that stuff.
Yeah.
About the minimum wage.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes on behind it. I started out over
You
minimum
do all
wage.
kinds of voting and stuff, but it's up to the government and Congress and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got a video. It's a couple minutes long. I don't know if y'all can all see that.
There are multiple debates being had in the United States over the federal minimum wage. There's a debate over whether or not to raise it. Then there's a debate over how much to raise it by. There's a separate debate about leaving it up to the states, not to mention a whole other debate about whether or not there should even be a minimum wage. And since all of these debates revolve around economics, they rage on. But let's say you're someone who simply doesn't think that it's a good idea to raise the minimum wage. If somebody was to ask you, why not raise the minimum wage, citing automation would not be a worthwhile answer. It seems like a suitable counter-argument at first glance. The idea is that if it costs too much money to hire human beings, employers will inevitably replace their employees with robots.
So we told you this might happen as more cities and states hike the minimum wage. More companies are looking to replace workers with cheaper machines.
McDonald's, if they're forced to go from $7.50 an employee or whatever it is, $9 an employee, to $15, they're just going to replace them with iPads.
Automation would be inevitable if the minimum wage was raised. It would also be inevitable if the minimum wage was not raised. Automation is inevitable, period. It's the reason why there's been a dramatic decrease in the number of people who farm, assemble cars, connect telephone calls on switchboards, and wrap chocolates on sitcoms. Automation has been replacing human labor for a long time, and in all fairness, it is a two-sided coin. While automation wipes out jobs initially, it's a byproduct of advancing technology, and that in turn is how newer jobs come about.
Automation is going to happen anyway, right? It's called progress. Progress has been happening since time began. And if McDonald's can put in a system that makes it easier for them and their clients, it's got nothing to do with the minimum wage.
I really do think these two are unrelated. I tend toward Rick on this one. The reality is businesses are not in business to create jobs. They're in that to create profits for shareholders. And if you look at cars, computers, the internet, they were huge job destroyers that ultimately created much better jobs because they led to profits.
The argument that is made in favor of raising the federal minimum wage is that it ought to be an amount that allows a full-time employee to afford the basic necessities of living. Now again, any argument regarding economics is subject to a fierce debate, and that's okay. But if you're going to argue against raising the minimum wage, citing automation is not a proper way to do that, because it does not honestly address the argument in favor of raising it.
So as in the video, it said replacing iPads with people. As far as that could be, technology is growing every day. So that could be, they said robots, but I don't think robots would actually, as far as technology like iPads or some sort of computer technology could replace maybe an employer cheaper than, actually paying. But, because you ain't got to go through the benefits and all that, but that's a whole different, section. Let's see if I finish this video up. Yeah. So I hope now that all of you have a better understanding of the importance of hourly wages, the hourly wages can have. Next time a conversation comes up about hourly wages, you will be able to relate back to this topic, hopefully. You may not, but hopefully. And I feel confident in the knowledge you know now. Is there any questions about, or any comments you want to make about increasing or not increasing hourly wages? Open questions? Anything?
To me, they need to go up on it.
Think they need to go up? Okay. All right.
A lot of people can't make a living on $7.25.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is, I've worked 20 years in the same job, and I'm making $10 an hour now. But somebody go like Burger King or somewhere else and make what I'm making,
Yeah.
starting out.
Yeah, and you've been there a lot longer than.
So they do raise minimum wage. She raises people who've been working forever their wage too.
I agree with that. Any other questions?
The only thing about minimum wage is you raise the price of living, the minimum wage stays the same. Don't you think minimum wage should be the same as the price of
30
living?
years.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now 30 years, it took me 15 to make $15 an hour.
Yeah.
But if they increase minimum wage, wouldn't it increase with?
That is true. And you said increase
The
minimum
cost
wage.
of living should be the same as
Right.
minimum wage.
Right. But also, having increased hourly pay can also increase other things. Not saying what those things are, but it can increase other things that you spend money on, or you need to spend money on, is what I should say. Any more questions? No questions? All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out and being patient through my presentation, and hope y'all enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.